Welcome to Let's Be Honest. I'm Liana Ross, and I'm a licensed mental health counselor. I'm the assistant director of Gooding Wellness Group, and I'm on a mission to answer your real and honest questions, unfiltered, while also giving you the real and honest opinions of a mental health clinician on pop culture and trending topics. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Let's Be Honest podcast, where we talk all about your requested topics and break down pop culture and trending topics too. I'm Liana, and I'm a licensed mental health counselor. Today, we are going to be talking about a listener topic and requested question. What is that, you might ask? So we're talking about drinking and when drinking might be a problem, especially when there's so many jobs that require, whether it be like wining and dining or specific jobs of selling alcohol to different businesses. And I know a lot of times in these situations, you literally have to be drinking the alcohol. I mean, I don't know that for a fact, but I assume so. I assume that it's really uncomfortable to turn things down. And more than it's normalized in society, this creates even more of a normalized drinking culture. And it's encouraged to increase business, to make money, of course, which can make it super confusing to determine if our drinking is quote unquote normal. And I think this can get very gray or nuanced because drinking is very normalized in our society. It's the only drug that you have to explain why you're not doing it. So we're going to talk about drinking culture, how to determine if your drinking is becoming a problem, and if it is, ways to take a step back. And then, of course, because this podcast is not a substitute for individual therapy, I'm going to recommend maybe seeking a therapist who specializes in substance use. So that is our rundown for today. So like I said, in our culture, drinking is normalized. Like, it's very normal. No one's looking at you side-eyed if you're picking up an alcoholic drink during the day. Well, maybe not. And you're encouraged to have a good time. We use it to de-stress. We use it to relate to people. I mean, I can go on and on for the many reasons that we drink. And then, of course, some people do genuinely like it, whether they like the feeling, the taste, the culture, whatever it is. I mean, it is a huge role in our society. And like I said, it's the only drug that people question if you're not doing. Isn't that crazy? Like, I saw that on a meme or something on Instagram, and I stopped for a second and I was like, wow, that is so true. And so this is enhanced when we're supposed to be drinking for our job. Whoever this person is that wrote in, I'm sure works in the business and is really hard to turn down drinking, whether it's wining and dining or taking people out or selling alcohol. It is the job. So it makes it really hard, I could imagine. Like, I don't think I could do that just because I don't like drinking. But it really comes to the point of, when is it a problem? And this is with anything in our life, not even just alcohol. It could be, when is too many video games a problem? When is too much gambling a problem? When is too much weed a problem, right? Like, same with this. When is drinking a problem? So I want you, and even if, of course, you can't relate to this or not your vibe, ask yourself as you're listening to this, has drinking impacted your life? Relationships, maybe with a partner, maybe with a family member, a friend, your job. Has it been really difficult to wake up the morning of and thought about calling out, or maybe did call out numerous times, or had to go home early? Maybe we can't imagine coming home and not opening a drink after a long day of work. And has it impacted your mental health? Does it lead to depression or anxiety or irritation, irritability, whatever the case might be? Does it impact your physical health, where we just don't feel physically well anymore? And I also want you to think about this. And this is a really good question for anyone listening to this. And maybe you can even apply this to anything else in your life, whether it be video games, weed, food. Not food. This doesn't apply. If you were told that you couldn't drink for a month, what would that do to you? Like, think about that for a second. If it's anything and you have a strong feeling like as soon as you heard me say that, it's like, what? I can't imagine not drinking. Like, no, I can't do that. Maybe it's worth taking a look at. And no shame in the game. No shame at all. I think a lot of us can relate to that, honestly. Even if it's about alcohol, what would it be like to not drink for a month? And then let's take it a step further. What is the need? What is the urge or necessity? Why do we want it? Why do we need it? Let's take out like, oh, it's a great time. I love it. It's so fun. Wait, does it make me feel more confident or less social anxiety so then I can meet people out at the bar, or I can talk to people with less anxiety and feel better about myself? Do I feel awkward without it? What is the need? What is the urge or necessity? And let's take it another step further. Is it your only coping mechanism? Again, no shame in the game, but if we have a box of tools and we only have a wrench, where is that going to bring us? So I relate that to mental health because we have to add more tools to the toolbox, right? Okay, so if maybe I have a drink when I'm stressed here and there, but is it the only thing I'm doing? Or if I want a little help relating to people or feeling connected, is that the only thing I'm doing to connect to other people? What other coping mechanisms do you have? And then according to the DSM-5, which is the Diagnostic Statistical Manual, which all helping professionals, mental health professionals, doctors look at for diagnoses, and especially for me, I've specialized in addiction, and I'm very well versed in, when it can be a problem and what it might look like. Are you experiencing withdrawal symptoms? Now, I hear a lot of times people say, well, I don't drink every day. I don't wake up having the shakes. That is a very small subset of people who might have a concern around drinking. Like, that is one aspect. But it can also be, do I wake up feeling anxiety or depression or irritability after a night of drinking? Because alcohol dehydrates us. It totally messes up our bodies. It's a toxin. We know that. Have we developed a tolerance? What is our tolerance? Like, think about that for a second. Have people expressed their concern about your drinking to you? Have people ever shared their concern or mentioned it to you? And what has been our reaction? Like I said before, has it impacted job, relationship, mental health? Have you tried to quit many times? Like, I know that there's like that huge thing of like dry January. I don't even know why it's a thing, to tell you the truth. I think it goes along with New Year's resolutions, but like, why do we need to quit in January? And then why do we have a problem when like we're just waiting till the end of the month to pick up the drink again? Like, do we have an inability to stop drinking? And, after many times of saying and promising others or maybe ourselves that we were going to stop. And then getting down to the really at the end of it, what are the pros and cons, right? Like, even if it is for our job, and let's say as we listen to this and as you hear me talking about all these concerns, and maybe you're saying to yourself like, oh yeah, like that is me, I'm having a bit of a problem. Maybe it's time to reconsider another job. But that's, whatever that case might be, whatever that decision is. But I think making a pros and cons list of the pros of drinking and then the cons, I think that would help allow you to explore and increase insight. I know I love when things are written down on paper rather than keeping it all in our head. Put it on paper, see what it looks like. And if any of these raise an eyebrow, it's okay. It is okay. You're not alone, nor does it mean I'm telling you you're an alcoholic. Like, I hope that you hear me loud and clear here. We just might want to reflect and talk to a therapist. That's it. Keep listening for tools to support a sober, curious, or sober lifestyle. That's what I'm going to leave you with and what I'm going to get to next. Again, no shame in the game. I'm not here to tell anyone that they're an alcoholic or have an issue. Just if any of this resonates with you, take note. That's it.
Hi, my name is Gordon Gooding. I'm the founder and director of the Gooding Wellness Group here in Cold Spring Harbor, New York. We are a group of mental health providers that offer individual and family counseling here on Long Island. We believe the first step for caring for your mental health is to talk and to learn about it, which is what this podcast does such a great job of. If it has a name, someone else has been through it, and so can you. If you ever need a professional that cares about what you are facing, please feel free to reach out to us. Our counseling services are available throughout New York State through our teletherapy service, and we also offer in-person sessions in our beautiful offices here on Long Island, New York. You can reach us at goodingwellness.com or by calling 631-351-2940. Remember, there's nothing that you need to face alone. Until then, keep listening, be deliberate with your mental health, and keep it honest.
So I want to get a little real. I actually stopped drinking about, I don't know, maybe 5-ish years ago. I've had a drink here and there. Very menial. But I can relate to a lot of this. And these are some of the things that not only have worked for me, but have worked with a lot of people that I work with, whether they do identify as an alcoholic or they don't, and they just want to reduce their drinking, or it hasn't gotten to that point yet and they want to take a step back. So the first tip I want to say, or I guess not a tip, but I guess want to increase insight that if, let's say, you are looking to decrease your drinking, people are going to be surprised. Like, I just want to put that out there. They are going to say something, right? Like, if we change any type of behavior, especially because it is alcohol, people are going to ask, like, oh, what's going on? You're not drinking? And we're going to talk about that. And that, like, there's no need for an excuse. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. You don't need to think of a lie. Are you drinking? Nope. Done. No is a complete sentence. Why aren't you drinking? I decided to take a break. Be firm. And I will tell you that people will still ask why, be like, oh, come on, all that annoyances. But this is a really good opportunity to set a boundary. And we might slip a few times. That's okay. It is such a big practice, and this is such a big change in behavior with something that is so normalized. It's like saying, why aren't you having cake? Like, why aren't you watching football on Sunday? Like, it is so normalized. And maybe next time, try this. Just try this. Even if you don't commit or anything like that, when you're out with friends, family, or at work, order like a seltzer or a Diet Coke with lemon. That's my favorite. Or some other non-alcoholic beverage. And a lot of times, I would love to hear what your experience is. No one knows. No one cares. They see you holding a cup. They I don't know. I think they just assume that you're drinking. It's worked for me a lot. Just sometimes having that thing in my hand is helpful. Especially making that transition from maybe being a big drinker, being a consistent drinker, or even just being a drinker. See what that does for you. I'm really curious. And for those who drink to calm nerves or quote unquote be fun, then it also becomes a question of confidence and believing in ourselves. When we're relying on a substance, and again, this is so normalized, no shame, and tons of people do this. When we rely on a substance, whether it's alcohol, weed, whatever it is, we don't get to the root of the problem, right? If drinking makes me feel more confident to talk to people that I'm interested in, it's just a BandAid. I don't ever really get to work on that confidence, and it's going to consistently be a problem, right? Like in 20 years, I'm still going to have that issue where maybe my confidence isn't where I would want it to be. Or if, let's say, having drinks when you get home from work or to de-stress is our go-to, remember, like I said, our one coping tool, we don't ever really get to learn how to de-stress. Increasing our coping tools, giving ourselves the opportunity to find other ways to work on the stuff underneath the BandAid or maybe the alcohol. And that's something I say to a lot of my clients who are trying to get sober or stop drinking is alcohol isn't, or drugs and alcohol aren't the problem. It's the solution. It's the solution for a lot of maybe some inner core issues that are going on. And I think also it's difficult when drinking is kind of like the centralized activity, right? Like, especially for those of you who maybe are dating where it's like, let's go for a drink. And it's like, I really don't want to, or like, I wonder what it would be like if you offered or suggested other activities that don't revolve around drinking. Like, change it up. And I think that's healthy to change it up in general, right? Like, do experiences, do fun things. Like when I stopped drinking and I started focusing on other activities, I had such a good time and I got to do things that maybe I would have never done before, or really fun memories, and it pushed me out of my comfort zone. So start looking into things that don't only revolve around drinking. We're shifting our focus to maybe interests and hobbies that we haven't really uncovered yet. And I think this one is also very important when it comes to people saying things to us, is surround yourself with people who support your sober decision or reducing your alcohol intake. If your current friends question it or give you a really hard time and they do not let up, even if you set the boundary, even if you have a serious discussion with them, are they really supportive? I hate to say that, but it's true, right? Like, it doesn't feel good when we feel like we don't have the support we need. I actually read this really good book. I forgot who it's by, but the name is Sober Curious. And I would definitely recommend it to anyone who's looking to reduce their drinking, and again, this is not for people who identify as an alcoholic or more severe. This is just people who have the ability to stop on their own, to take a look at that. It's a very good book. And if being in a job that encourages drinking, we're kind of making it full circle right now. If being in a job that encourages drinking doesn't make us feel comfortable, and maybe it's causing some issues that we really don't favor, and that is making our life unmanageable, maybe it's time for a discussion around a different path, and that's okay. Right? Like, we go through different things in our life. We go through different phases. And sometimes, depending on our direction and where we're going in life, our friends, our family, our job, our routine, our relationships make a change too. And that's okay. Out of breath here. So let's sum it up. Closing statements. Alcohol is very normalized in our society. It is not easy to quit or reduce because of maybe external pressures or not feeling confident in ourselves, whatever the reason is that we're drinking. I would encourage you to ask yourself, why do I drink? What's underneath there? What's the urge? What's the necessity that makes us scared to reduce our drinking or stop drinking? Find people who support you in your decision. We change people, places, and things. If finding a different job is something that's going to support you, then that's okay. If maybe ordering a seltzer, a Diet Coke, at a work function works for you, do that. Find different ways that'll support your goals and what you would like to work on. And I would totally encourage you to work with a therapist who is specializing in substance abuse or just has awareness around problematic use, because I know that addiction is not, where everyone is right now. And it will also help kind of work on the stuff that are the reasons why we're drinking. Confidence, anxiety, stress, depression, past trauma. And that's a lot of the work that I do and a lot of the clinicians that I work with at Gooding Wellness does about like, what is the reason we're drinking? Like I said, the substance is not the problem, it's our solution. So we got to get to the root of the problem. Mic drop. Whew. All right, guys, this was fun. Episode 5, Dunzo. So if you want your requested topic or question answered on the pod, feel free to DM me at Let's Be Honest Pod and follow the account, of course. You can email me at letsbehonest@goodingwellness.com. And that's where you can also request a topic or question. And you know what's coming up next week is pop culture or trending topic as it relates to mental health. Remember to follow the show, please, and give us a review. Let me know what you think. I'm always down for feedback. And this is awesome. I'll see you guys next time. Or I guess I'll talk to you guys next time.